these are going to be your special plants that you can take care of in the greenhouse. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah.
Cool.
And we can also do a pool in them.
What? G'day you mob, how's it going? Welcome to this episode of Pete vs Plants. I'm Pete, the plants are in here, and Peaches, can't ever say, where are you mate? Come here. And Peaches is here too. Ain't you Peach? You gonna help me out with this one? No? Here. Up you go, fat cat. All right, so she's probably gonna hang out a little bit too. Does that sound like a deal? Bache aqui. Boom. That's sorry, give me a high five in Portuguese. So yes, I may have lashed out a little bit, guys. So I have taken money from the aroid sales that I have made and I have transformed them into cacti. So I'm not going to be able to tell you every single price off the top of my head. And it is one of those things where I'm like, do I want to share this? Am I going to just make myself look like a douchebag? I spent $800 and something on cacti, guys. I know, everyone, I can hear it. I can hear the, what the you psycho? I know. But I've taken money from the aroids and pushed them into the cacti, and I think this will be the last kind of splurge for a while on cacti. But the story is that good old Corey from Spine City here, is that upright? There you go, Spine City. And he sent me something for my son. What a lovely dude, man. What a lovely guy. And I guess I have to save this and open this with my son. He's at daycare currently. But Corey put up, I think it was 105 cacti for sale. He did a huge release. And many of these were just phenomenal. And I really, really wanted some of them in my collection, and obviously a lot of other people did too, because the auctions went pretty high for some of them. So anyway, we'll go through, I'll give you a little look-see, a little look at what I purchased. Someone just stopped out the front of my house. Maybe it's a delivery. Gonna have a look. Big ass truck. It's just a big ass truck, Peach. Just a random big ass truck in front of my house. Got the door open to let a bit of air through, but it also lets the sound through. Go figure, right? Go figure. Anyway, can't even remember what I was saying, but yeah, lashed out a ton on cacti, really pumped to have these in the collection. It's probably going to be the last splurge for a little while, and I think this is by far and away the largest splurge that I've done. But let's just get into it, guys. You guys are going to be thinking, this guy is a psycho. So the first one here is Astrophytum asterias, and it is a cultivar, Kikko Muscle. Now, these ones are just insane. And I got this one because I think too, if I wanted to sell this in the future, it's going to go for quite a lot. But it looks like it's potentially two heads of a single Astrophytum Kikko Muscle, which are already really, really rare in Australia. But it's either cresting or it's splitting into two, both of which make it rarer and potentially much more expensive. But yeah, I guess I'll just put the price up of what I paid. I'll be able to look this up later and I'll put it on the screen for you guys so that you can be even more shocked. But yeah, so here is number one, the Astrophytum asterias Kikko Muscle. These are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cacti. And I think too, with the Astrophytum, the ones that are just green, enormous, no spines, lumpy, they look like they're almost, something that's come out of the wrong end of the Hulk. They just really wet my whistle, guys. I just think they're really, really cool. And so I really wanted the genetics of this one in my collection once I saw it up online. And it is one of those things where Corey's a wise man for auctioning them because a lot of other people want them too. And yeah, you end up with the highest bidder, right? So I lucked out. Isn't that a weird phrasal verb, to luck out? It's like you didn't have enough luck, but I did have enough luck. And I won this little dude. Beautiful. It looks like the Hulk's butt cheeks, right? If the Hulk had a very lumpy child and you were changing that child's nappy and somehow a cactus had been stuck up the poor child's wazoo, I feel like that's what it would look like. Isn't that a refreshing thought for the morning, guys? You're welcome. I'm here all week. Keep the change. It's really funny though. I feel like it's one of those things where cacti people will watch this and probably be like, wow, what a deal. And I think aroid people are going to watch it and be like, you psycho. And it would be vice versa, right? It would happen the other way around, where I've got aroids that I've paid thousands of dollars for in my collection, and I think cacti fans would just be like, you nut job, and aroid fans would probably be like, that's pretty steep, but it's a nice plant. So it is funny how it's kind of like, yeah, that's okay here, but not okay here. Anyway, maybe I'm just justifying it to myself. I need some labels, Peach. I need some labels. We got labels up here somewhere? Yeah, we need a pencil too. Jeez. Where did I put the pencil, Peach? Where did I put the pencil, Peach? Gotcha. But I can't see the sharpener. So that's going to put us in a bit of a predicament, isn't it? Although I can probably use the knife to sort it out, huh? Hey, none of that. All right. It's got a bit of sharpness to it. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one. It's funny too, because this video, I'm filming this, and this morning my most recent unboxing video came out. But that video, as you'll probably be able to tell by the beard, actually my beard's been cut since then, but it was, I think I filmed that about a month ago, but it was an unboxing of cacti. So I'm gonna have to probably put this a few weeks or a month or so into the future, just so that you guys don't get two of them in a row and think I'm a total nut job. Because yeah, they are quite split apart. Anyway, this is a Copiapoa tenuissima cross. So again, I grabbed this. It's one of those things, it's kind of hard. He has a bunch of things, Corey has a bunch of things that he auctions that go for heaps, and then a bunch that often no one goes after at all. And so I put down like the reserve bid for this one, and I think I'll put it up on screen, but it wasn't anywhere near as much. But I got it because of that red tinge at the top. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but that purpley red tinge in there and the fact that it's a Copiapoa meant that I had to grab this one. It just looked absolutely beautiful. So yeah, Copiapoa all the way. And it's one that isn't on graft by the looks of it. It has its own taproot there, so it's been grown from seed like so. And I grabbed this one because I have another tenuissima that I really like, and I would like to create some pure tenuissima seeds. So that's a big thing too. I've got two of a lot of the things that I'm really keen to kind of get a pure line of seed from. Whereas, yeah, some of these other weirder things like the Kikko Muscle here, you may just have one and you just cross it with other Astrophytums to just see what happens, right? So yeah, tenuissima, beautiful. Copiapoa, what an epic genus. These are the ones that live in Peru in the fog deserts. They have these beautiful deserts out there. But the interesting thing is, there's very, very little rain, but the plants have evolved in such a way to be able to pull moisture out of the atmosphere. I think it's in the mornings and the evenings. There are these fog clouds that just wash in off the ocean because the desert's right there. I assume it's on one side of the mountain range, right? The Andes up against the ocean. And so the fog comes in, and I guess the air sort of getting pushed up the mountainside condenses it, causes the fog to form, and the plants have, I think a lot of the ones that live there, at least in that part of Chile, have trichomes, the hair all along the plant and everything, and that's the stuff that ends up soaking the water out of the atmosphere and allowing it to either trickle down the plant into the root system or just get absorbed directly into the plant. So it's a very cool thing. Apparently it rarely ever rains there, but still you have these plants, these cacti that can survive in that environment because they've evolved to be able to just pull moisture out of the air, you know? And it's just like, just evolution, man, evolution. Just kick ass, huh? Just kick ass. It's amazing how when there's niche space, right? There's obviously in the sense of these deserts, there was a lot of geographical space that other plants couldn't survive in because it never rained there. But cacti evolved in South America, Central America, and North America, right? The Americas there. And they've just gone, you know, effectively empty niche space is just sitting there. It's just waiting. And for whatever reason, whichever one it was, a cactus one day adapted to a very dry environment where there was fog going in there, and then they've just exploded in there. And Copiapoa is this genus with loads and loads of species that inhabits these areas that are just uninhabitable for so many other forms of plant life, right? Okay, so we have an Astrophytum Hecaran nishiki, so another Japanese, what would you say, cultivar that is variegated. And I guess you guys who are aroid heads watching this and like variegated plants, I wonder what you'll think of this one. Hopefully it's not blowing out a bit because it's so light in color. not sure if I block out the light here. There you go, you can probably see it a little better. The interesting thing with variegated cacti, you can pass it on through seeds. So I guess I'm not sure if it's a chimeric thing or not, but it can't be the same way that like an albo, Monstera albo is chimeric, where if you create seeds with this plant, with an albo Monstera, I imagine the problem is the reason you can't pass it on genetically is because when you go through meiosis and your genome's effectively, it gets put into, say, sperm cells and egg cells, you only get one. So you're going to end up with either completely albo or completely green in those sex cells. You're not going to have like a 50-50 split between them. They'll be one or the other. And so, yeah, it's obviously this situation where I assume it's more complex than that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they can't be passed on sexually like that, genetically. They're just stuffed. But for some reason with cacti, a lot of it is passed on through seed, which is really cool. So the impetus for getting this little variegated one, was one, it was variegated, and two, it is a cultivar that I don't have. Okay, I think I'm going to start wearing gloves because I'm getting pricked quite a bit here. Ooh, another one that looks like a Copiapoa, is it? No. Cheliarabutia ordierii. This one was stunning as well. So it's similar to the Copiapoa that you saw before, where it is very dark in color. It has that red, turquoisey, purpley kind of iridescence that you can probably see there. When you twist it, you'll see these different colors kind of pop up. But this one I got because I just love the knobbliness and those spines. They look like little spiders on each of the knobs on the cactus, each of the tubercles. I never know. I need to look that word up so I know where the stress is, because I have tubercles. So Cheliarabutia ordierii. I am totally mispronouncing that. Ordierii. Boom. All done. Beautiful. Beautiful. Welcome to the collection, mate. Make yourself at home. Get a drink. Or don't. I need a drink, though, I'll tell you what. You're just being social, huh? Just hiding away sleeping? What are you doing, Pooch? Little Peaches, feel good? She's been so good with the kids, guys. Like, she's pretty violent with me. She wants to fight all the time like this. I guess I'm probably just touching the danger zone, the belly. Ah! And she bites and bites and bites. But with the kids, she is pretty gentle. Like, I found that she does slap them sometimes, but it's normally an open hand kind of slap, right? No claws, just a bop. And she gives them a warning when they get a little too up in her grill. But she hasn't injured any of them yet. Either of them. Have you, Peach? You've been good so far. Knock on wood. It doesn't give you permission to go too crazy if they get up in your grill. Okay, so we got another Astrophytum. Oh man, I was so glad to get this one too. So this is one that I've only ever seen through Corey once. The one that I got, right? So this is an Astrophytum asterias cultivar Super Kabuto zebra, Japanese genetics. And you'll see why it is called a zebra shortly. Ow, God, I'm getting pricked again. Just don't want to rip the roots off. The crazy trichomes here, let's see if I can get the shade out of the way. You can see the trichomes and how there's kind of like these stripy lines down the side of it. So this one is going to look absolutely stunning when it gets bigger. But yeah, I was definitely keen to get this one. So there we are, the zebra. Gosh, I can't wait for these to get bigger. It's just going to be beautiful. A big thing too with why these guys are so much more expensive now, I think, is because only a few years ago you could still order in seed from overseas in order to be able to grow out different plants like cacti and whatever else that was obviously legal. But they've since really tightened up the import laws, and so you can't get, cactus seed like this from Japan or Thailand or overseas anywhere really. I think at least without the proper import permits. So it's made it a lot more difficult, and as a result, you don't see these sorts of plants popping up anymore as frequently, I believe. They're in people's collections. They're just hard to get your hands on. All right, next up. Ooh, this one's another cutie. Another cutie. This is Echinocerius pectinatus. And you'll see why I decided to grab this one. Look at that beautiful red, pink spines at the top there. And I love the little tubercles with the, I don't know, these hairy spines that come out of them all over the cacti. They're just a cactus. They're just absolutely stunning. So another one that I wanted to get my little grubby little hands on and then grow out. And I think this was a relatively affordable one. This is another one of those interesting ones. I thought it was beautiful, but I don't think anyone else bidded on it. And I was like, okay, fair enough. She's mine. So there we go. Echinocerius pectinatus. Gorgeous. And this is a bottomless pit. I've got tons to get through in here, guys. Hope you don't mind hanging around. I keep getting comments saying, stop apologizing for the long videos, but I always feel like I'm just ranting about garbage and you guys are sort of going to be like, nodding off. So I guess we shall continue. But you'll have to let me know if you guys watching this were aroid heads, you know, indoor plant people. And since I got into cacti and started doing a few more videos on these unboxings and everything, that you've gotten a little more interested in cacti, you'll have to let me know, because I would love to know if I'm passing on the bug, right? If I'm kind of like virtually sneezing my cactus obsession into your mouth. Isn't that a nice picture? And getting you addicted to the prickliness as well. So you'll have to let me know. Maybe though, I think a lot of you guys are probably already way ahead of me. So, you know, you may have already had your cactus interest peaked. Wow, what a stunner. So this one looks to me like a pyrocactus of some kind. I can't see the... Did I get rid of the little label? Maybe there's no label in here. I should be able to find it from when I open up my computer, but yeah, it looks like there's no label here. But look at that one. Another stunner. Love these dark knobbly cacti and the ones with really dark spines. And this one has these kind of like lighter tips to the edges of the spines, which is just really, really cool. Oof, this one's going to be fun to try and hold and pot up. Again, why do I keep taking my gloves off? I think it's just I like to handle things and feel sort of more in contact with them. But, oh man, this is going to be fun. It's about as fun as licking a cat's ass. No offense, Peach. She's just like, go fuck yourself. So for me, it's a no ID, but you guys all know what it is on screen. Anyway, the licking a cat's ass line, that comes from Billy Connolly. I don't know if you guys are fans of him, but I grew up absolutely loving Billy Connolly. I think for the first few years, I had no idea what he was saying, but my dad used to always sort of translate the jokes for me. He loves Billy Connolly. And so I remember watching a stand-up of his once, and he was talking about Australian Vegemite. And he was like, Vegemite, you know, I remember watching Oprah Winfrey doing a show, and she was talking about Vegemite. And she's like, mate, Vegemite tastes like licking a cat's ass. And Billy Connolly's sort of one-liner joke was, how would she know? So I just love to imagine Oprah with a jar of Vegemite on one side and some poor cat on the other, and her comparing the two and taking notes. Yep, they're the same. They're exactly the same. All right. Oh, we got a Copiapoa cultivar lizard skin. This is another one. Oh, goddamn, blowing out. Can you see it? It's very hard to find. It's very hard to find, especially affordable. So I grabbed this one. I think I got it for $50 odd. There are some others up online for like 70 to 100. But yeah, I was amazed to see this one come up. I think it's a similar story where the seed is originally from overseas, and so they're getting harder and harder to find here in Australia. But I'd seen this one a few times, and I think lizard skin, obviously you're going to expect it to have nice rough kind of surface, or what would you say, epidermis on the plant. So I had to grab it. I was just like, oh, I've got to have this one in the collection. Another one, sort of fleshing out all these different varieties so that when and if I get into the hybridizing a little more deeply, I'll have a lot of genetic variation that I can play with. Look at that. So there you go. And there's a little bit of the trichomes on the top there. So you can see the white hairs right on the top of the plant. It's really interesting. So the hairs and the spines, they have evolved for many different reasons, right? The primary one that everyone's going to think of is protection. If you are a cactus living in the Chilean Andes, you're probably not going to want to be chewed on by a llama, right? So you're going to grow spines. But they also act as a way of protecting yourself from the sun. So like they shield the epidermis and as well the meristem here at the top of the plant, the growth point. They shield it from the direct harsh sunlight. They also act as a little bit of an air conditioning kind of unit where they reduce the temperature right on the surface of the skin too. And then lastly, the fourth reason is that they can help collect water for the plant too. So there are numerous reasons why spines and hairs have adapted on cacti. And so yeah, just such cool plants. So anyway, there you go, Copiapoa lizard skin. Beautiful, beautiful. It would be really cool, I'd have to look into the literature, but it would be really cool if you could work out which of these traits were, say, the initial reason that spines on cacti evolved, right? Was it that the cactus, as it was adapting to new environments, which of these pressures did it suffer first? Did it suffer from predation? So it was like, okay, we need to grow spines. We need to turn our leaves into these spiny structures to prevent llamas and other animals from eating us. Did they face much harsher sunlight, right? If you're going up mountainsides or you're going into deserts, you're going to experience, a lot more direct sunlight and a lot harsher light. So perhaps they evolved spines and hairs initially just to protect them from the sun. Did they do it in order to keep themselves cool? So it was sunlight related, but it was more about the temperatures that were directly on the epidermis. Perhaps the temperatures were damaging them a lot more than light exposure per se or predation. Or was it related to water, where they were evolving these hair and spine structures to pull the water, the moisture out of the atmosphere first and foremost, because that was the pressure that they were facing before anything else? Or, as is probably likely, was it a combination of multiple factors here? And as an evolutionary biologist, that was the stuff that used to really tickle my fancy, that really made me interested in just, how did these things evolve? Why did they evolve? Why did they get these traits? Which are the traits that came first? And it's always really fascinating because, like flight, with flight in birds, right? You didn't just have this reptilian animal that suddenly decided to grow wings and literally fly in the exact way that a bird today flies. You had all of these kind of stepping stones between a lizard that had no hair on it, no down on it, no feathers, nothing, and a fully fledged, pun intended, bird, right? There were all these steps, and each step had no idea about the next step that was coming. So, evolution is blind. It doesn't predict, I want to be able to fly one day, so I'm going to give this animal hairs that will then turn into feathers, that will then grow longer and be on the bottom of the wings, that the bird, or I guess it would be what would it be, archosaur? I can't even remember the word, but the reptile will use to glide, and then slowly it's going to learn to flap. Evolution has no idea about those things happening. And so it's always interesting to kind of try and work out and piece together, how did these things happen and when and how and why, and learn that story. That was the thing that sucked me in the most when I was studying my master's and PhD. It was the learning these stories, telling these stories. It's kind of like just so stories, but actually based on evidence, not just, pulling it out of your backside, being like, why has the elephant got a trunk? Because he likes the trumpet. And you may be thinking, how do you work that sort of stuff out? So say that you can work it out. How do you do it, right? How do you work it out? It's been a few years since I'm just looking for the tag so that I can name this thing right, but I'll just write down Copiapoa CV lizard skin. So effectively you put together a family tree of the different species and genera that are alive today, that are in the group that you're interested in, right? It's called a phylogeny. So effectively you're looking at all these different groups, all these different individual species, and then piecing together their family tree. And then as a result, you can kind of see the branches and how everything is related to one another and when they split from one another, right? I'll chuck a phylogeny on screen, but you can work that out. And then quite often you can use things like the evolutionary rate of, an evolutionary clock, so how quickly mutations occur within a certain group's genome. There's ways of working that out, or at least estimating it. And you can also use fossils to help calibrate a phylogeny and work out when did these branches branch off from one another back through time. You can work it out based on millions of years or hundreds of thousands of years usually. So if you can piece together that, and then you can map out on the phylogeny the different traits that the different species or genera have, the different groups, you can use really advanced sort of statistical programs to kind of piece together what the ancestral genotypes and phenotypes and traits and morphological characteristics and everything like that were, right? So like if you have a very, say imagine you've got this phylogeny on the screen, but if a single group has a certain trait, you know that the ancestor, or at least you can surmise that the ancestor of that group would have had that trait. If every single member of that group has that trait, say blue, right? It's got blue skin, then it's very likely that the ancestor of all of those, you know, if you go back far enough to find the ancestor of all of those in that group, that ancestor is going to be the one that first evolved that trait if it's different from every other individual in that phylogeny. So you can kind of use that to work out which of the traits are the most ancient and then piece it together. And it's never just a clear cut of this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. But it's usually that you'll get sort of statistical estimates to think, okay, so the very, very, very original ancestor of all cacti was most likely spiny because it lived in this environment, which suggests it had the spines because of XYZ, right? If it was an environment where there were just llamas and temperature wasn't a problem, humidity wasn't a problem, and direct sunlight wasn't a problem, then you probably know, okay, the spines first evolved because of predators. I'm ranting a bit, but I get passionate about this sort of stuff and it would be really cool to learn a bit more about this. I have to dig in. I'm just sort of riffing here, as you can probably tell. I'm sure that cactus botanists would probably be able to tell you the information here. I have just chopped through the label for this one. Gift. Ah, what a legend. So this is a freebie. Thank you so much, mate. This is Eriosyce hybrid SCG. So this is one of his crosses. Spine City Genetics. Another one, just gorgeous. Look at that. He says that has crazy flowers. So I'm really keen to see how this one goes. But yeah, again, I just love this knobbliness, the geometry of them, and these spines. Ow, god damn it. Once you get into cacti, guys, you start getting used to getting pricked all the time. Just becomes another part of the day. But wow, thank you so much, Corey. Yes, he's grateful. I'm probably paying off his mortgage at the moment. He sent me a message after the the auction's finished and was just like, Jesus, you went all out. Take it easy. Like, what can I say, dude? I like your stuff. I wonder if there are any of you guys watching who are also bidding on any of his stuff and we were directly competing. Wouldn't that be amusing? I'm going to have to harass him at some point in the future and be like, can I come to your place and see your greenhouse and do a tour? I'll have to be like, can we do a tour video on the Pete vs. Plants channel? It'd be sick to be able to showcase behind the scenes of some of these places. I've also been chatting to Rick from Uprooted, another great nursery, kind of online nursery here in Australia. He sells really good plants and is just an absolutely beautiful dude. So I've been chatting to him quite a bit, becoming mates with him, and he's like, man, come to Cairns. We're moving to Cairns. They've just bought this huge sort of facility to grow their plants out for their business online. And he's like, come up and do a tour at some point. So I might have to get on that at some point, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you like to see tours of greenhouses and nurseries and stuff to really get to see what's out there in Australia? Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff in the US and even a little bit in Europe, but it would be very cool to do more Australian stuff and get that out there online as well. So this is an Astrophytum myriostigma rokotsu 2019 genetics, clone number 2. So a lot of information here. The cool thing is he mentions which clone it is usually, so that if you buy multiples like I have, and I should have checked the other one and what clone it was, if it's the same clone, so if these have been pups that have come off the same cactus, you won't be able to pollinate it, I think, because it would be like trying to self it. And I don't think Astrophytum can self, whereas Lophophora, other cacti can, certain types. And that's another evolutionary kind of rabbit hole that we could go down. Why can certain plants and even certain animals reproduce asexually? Why do they evolve that? Whereas close relatives don't have that ability to asexually reproduce. It reminds me of a story. When I was at uni studying, I remember there was a story about a Komodo dragon. I think it was in the London Zoo. I'll have to look this up online and show you one of the news stories. But it was like it was a female Komodo dragon and it was in its enclosure just by itself. It didn't have a mate, I believe. It didn't have any other Komodo dragon, at least that was sexually mature, in there with it. And all of a sudden it started laying eggs. And people were like, how did that happen? you know, and are these eggs viable? And it turns out that I think a few weeks or months later, the eggs all hatched and they were females, and they were genetic, exact copies of the mother. And so they discovered as a result that Komodo dragons, which are the largest goannas in the world, at least that are alive today, we used to have a bigger one that was native to Australia, used to eat indigenous people, I imagine. They would have fought one another. It was 6 meters long, called Megalania. It would have been horrifying, absolutely terrifying. But yeah, so they discovered that this thing could just turn into an asexual animal through, I think it's called parthenogenesis, or parthenogenetics, where effectively it can switch over its reproductive system to be able to just create clones of itself. So it just starts laying eggs that hatch as exact copies of the mother, which was just insane. And I think that's one of the most biologically advanced animals that's been found to be able to do that. I don't think that there are any mammals that can parthenogenetically reproduce like that, just have copies, but there are definitely other things like fish and beetles and all that sort of stuff that can just switch in and out. I think aphids are a good example, right? They'll reproduce sexually, I think, part of the time, if there are loads of individuals around. But if, say, one of them gets to a tree and it's kind of like, I'm the only one here and I would prefer for there to be other individuals around to distract predators, it just starts pumping out, I think, live young too. So I think aphids will actually switch between those two different sexual strategies depending on the environment and what suits them. So again, just really, really cool biology. That sort of stuff just always blew my mind. Like, imagine if that, we can go, there's a lot of jokes here, but imagine if humans could do that, right? Like, I think if humans could do that, there would only be females. It would become a female race, right? All of you ladies out there would just be like, fuck the men off. We're just going to create more women and we don't never have to deal with your shit ever again. So you would quickly become a race of asexual females. Every single female would be a species unto herself. It would be literally the Amazons, right? Amazonians. Oh man. God, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Just a world full of women. And there's no men. Just one man. All right, anyway, let's move along. This one is Neochilenia occulta, cross or hybrid. And again, this looks like something that's just popped out of the depths of hell, right? Like, it has these new spines that come out and they have these kind of like red-orange centers to those tubercles, and it just, again, looks otherworldly, demonic, like Cthulhu's cactus. Wouldn't that be cool if there was a genus that was just Cthulhuensis? So there we are with that one. Gorgeous. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Now, I think I'm going to have to try and sharpen this pencil a little bit. I don't know where my sharpener is, unfortunately. Lucky I got a knife here. Feel like a carpenter doing this. I guess I am really. I'm cutting wood up, right? Chopping wood. You all good, matey? God, fanging me again. Just always so vicious, Peach. Always on edge. Always wanting to fang. Hey? I wish I could cut your teeth down, huh? Your claws are cut and they're not sharp, but your teeth, your little fangs, they're brutal. Oh, Gymnocalycium gibbosum R539. Now, again, Gymnocalycium are just a really, really, really beautiful genus. You're gonna be thinking they all look the same, Peaches. Just can't be farmed. They all look the same, but yeah, Gymnocalycium, they just, I don't know, they grow like small, fat, round, and just have really cool patterning of the spines and everything. So definitely keen to fill out my tent with a bunch of different species of Gymnocalycium. They're very cool. And again, just really affordable. I think the bulk of this purchase would have been a handful of the cactus here, and the rest would have been much, much, much more affordable ones. All right, so there you go. Gymnocalycium gibbosum. Man, is that it? Are we down to the last one? No, we got a whole bunch more in here. Jeez, Pete. Still going, guys. I'm trying to think of other things to chat about. I guess I should ask you guys, what would you like to see more videos of? Because I feel at times like there are loads of things I could do, but I feel like so many other people do exactly the same thing that I'm not sure how interesting it would be, right? Like favorites of the month or care videos or, you know, all that sort of stuff. It seems like every man and his dog has done videos on that sort of stuff. But yeah, so if you have any suggestions for the kinds of things you would like to see on the channel, definitely let me know in a comment below. So we have here Gymnocalycium species 2079, so 2079. Really cute, fat, interesting geometry. I like how the spines come out and they look like little bird's feet or something, or like maybe little hands. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And this huge taproot, just fat, P-H-A-T, fat, right? I was just... Got a funny story for you guys. I was just thinking, my wife this morning received a book and it was Harry Styles and all the different uniforms and costumes and all sorts of crap that he's worn over the years. Clearly you can tell it is something that is right up my alley, but no, it is definitely up my wife's alley. And it's just funny because I have no problem with her kind of having a sort of crush on, you know, a famous person. But it is something that I've noticed where I don't often see, and I've encouraged it, right? Like I bought her a magazine that was a Harry Styles magazine, so I'm part of the partly to blame, right? But I have kind of, you know, just been like, it's all good, whatever, you know, go for your life. And if he comes out here and he says, run away with me, do it, dude, just do it. But this is one of those things, it's funny, I've kind of seen that, and it's not to throw shade at my wife per se, but it would be interesting to hear your experiences, guys. If I don't think I could do the same thing. I don't think I would get away with having a book of images of a certain woman that I had a bit of a crush on, who was a famous woman. I don't think that that would be tolerated or appreciated or encouraged at all compared to, my kind of encouragement of the Harry Styles crush. So you guys will have to let me know, is this just like it feels like double standards at times, but I wonder, yeah, I have to get your 2 cents on something like that. Would you, if ladies out there watching this, if your man had a crush on, say, Natalie Portman, would you go out there buying magazines of her in a bikini and, you know, prancing around doing all sorts of stuff or whatever for your husband? Or is it the kind of thing that you would just be like, not okay with whatsoever? Hopefully no one out there has a husband who's got a massive crush on Natalie Portman, and hopefully I'm not showing my cards. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you guys think, because it was just something I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, isn't this so funny? There's these kind of like little things that we take for granted in life where they're just different depending on your sex, right? So if you're a man or a woman, there's just key differences in certain things. And I don't know if they're like social taboos or they're just unspoken rules, laws, you know, but it was just something interesting that I noticed and was like, I need to sort of think about this and, you know, am I just butthurt that I can't have a huge poster of Natalie Portman in a bikini on my bedroom wall, or I think that'd go down like a stack of bricks. Astrophytum, myriostigma, hybrid, star mix. So star Astrophytum, trying to write and talk at the same time is not easy. Star Astrophytum is a website, I think they're based in Europe, and they have beautiful, beautiful genetic seeds that you can buy online. As you can see, here's an absolutely stunning hybrid from them. It's an Astrophytum myriostigma, as I said, but yeah, just beautiful. And these were some of those seeds that were highly sought after and bought and imported into Australia back in the day, a few years ago, but no longer can be done. So yeah, this was one of the reasons, and I imagine that quite a few of these are probably from Star Astrophytum originally, or perhaps from crosses or hybrids, breeding that was done with original Star Astrophytum genetics. Oh, we got another one. You may also realize that I am quite enamored with Astrophytum. They are, yeah, they're just seriously cool. There's only a handful of species in the genus, but they are just seriously, seriously cool. And here's another one, Astrophytum mysterious Kikko. So, yeah, Similar to the one that I showed you at the start, the Kikko Muscle, but this one looks like it has more trichomes on it, but just that lumpy weirdness, right? Lumpy weirdness. So I can't wait for these to get large and in charge. It's just going to be epic. And the other genus that I'm absolutely in love with is Eriosyce. And any of you Americans out there, you guys can get these things. You know, they grow so slowly, and they do get big, but it takes decades for them to get big. And you Americans, you can get these guys for, you know, relatively little money, and they're absolutely massive. It's just ridiculous. Whereas in Australia, they're so hard to find big because obviously it's just, you know, they're all grown over in America because that's where they're native. So it's just crazy seeing how the whole cactus community and culture and everything over there in the US is just completely different than it is here in Australia. It's very sort of new here in Australia, I feel. Like, I'm sure that there are definitely people who have huge collections and everything, but I think with the sort of more, the people that are more interested in it or have just become interested in it tend to be younger nowadays, and they're kind of like starting their own little communities, but it's still few and far between. You look over in the US and there's like hundreds, probably thousands of people who collect cacti, and they have all sorts of clubs everywhere. It's just so cool. I wish we had more of that in Australia, that kind of community around, whether it was aroids, whether it was cacti, you know, more of these events, larger clubs, places that sold them. Because like in the US, you guys, there's one channel, Cookie's Cactus, and she goes to just so many different nurseries. I think this is in Arizona, and it's like every single one of those nurseries is probably about as good as the best nursery in Australia that would be just cacti. And it just blows your mind when you see these videos. The plants that they have for sale, the prices of the plants, it's just like, just what? Anyway. All right, let's keep going. I'm not sure what's in these ones, because it's funny, I'm sure you guys know what it's like. If you end up going on a binge like this and buying a whole heap of things, you tend to forget what you actually got. So I'm not sure if I have maxed out all the things I bought, and these are some other things that have been added in here because they seem to be round, or if they are other things that I purchased. Oh no, this one I got, yeah. So we were talking about Eriosyce just a minute ago. This is a hybrid, but it looks like it's a retussis or retussis hybrid, and there'll be something else, and I assume Corey's probably lost the tag or doesn't remember what he crossed for it to be like this. And you can see, interestingly, it looks like, I think it might be off graft. Yeah, just based on the size of the roots there, you can't really see a single taproot. But these guys are slow growers. So the one that I've got here in my hand, I think if you were to find something this size that hadn't been grafted, it would probably be multiple years old, many years old, probably like 10 years old if it was this size and hadn't been grafted. If it has been grafted, I think, and again, I'm still, you know, a total noob here, I would imagine something this size might be 5 years old. But yeah, very cool. This is going to need a bigger pot. So yeah, I wanted to get a few more Eriosyce in the collection, especially larger ones like this, because they're so few and far between for a good price online, because they're so old. You'll see some pop up in Australia in a 10 centimeter pot, and they'll be like $400 or $500. And you're like, fair enough. You know, if an aroid was taking that kind of time to get that size, then of course it'd probably be thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands of dollars if it was taking decades to get to maturity. But they tend to grow to maturity in a handful of years, and you can just keep taking cuttings, and they're just, yeah, voracious growers, right? But the cacti, on the other hand, aren't. These Astrophytum are a little faster, I think, than Eriosyce, but typically Eriosyce are slow as hell. All right, so I think this is the very last one, guys. You are almost free of me, and I'm not sure if it looks like it might be another Astrophytum. Oh, it's a chunky one too. What a monster. Whoa, what a beast. It's funny, from the photos, I didn't realize that it was this large. Yeah, I remember getting this one. This was another expensive one, and it's because it's doing something weird at the top. It looks like it might be bifurcating and turning into either two, or it's just suddenly cresting. And I think Corey wasn't sure, but yeah. Let's see if I can get rid of this tissue. and then I'll show you what I'm looking at. Interesting, isn't it? This one's in a soil heavy mix, not a mineral heavy mix. Yeah, see the top there? I was doing something very weird. It might be bifurcating and turning into two kind of heads, but it may also be cresting. Still not sure on this sort of front. Still learning very much. So yeah, just had to get this one because he was just such a weirdo. I love that aspect of cacti and succulents too, where they can crest. So they can, the meristem can do this weird thing where it changes its growth pattern just spontaneously, and yeah, it's just really weird, right? It's really interesting that can happen. So had to get this one just because he was a bit of a weirdo. Okay, so Noah, I've got a little present here from Corey. Do you want to open it? All right. You ready?
Where is Corey?
Corey's back at his place, but he sent this in the mail for us. And look, it says Noah. Can you see N-O-A-H? You see it? It says Noah on the front. And he's even given you a little sticker here. That's pretty cool. Stick.
I already have a sticker.
You've already got a sticker, all right. So, should we open these up and see what's inside for Noah?
Yeah.
I reckon there's some special plants for Noah. You remember how you were in my greenhouse the other day and you pointed at some plants, lithops, and you said, these are my favorites. I think he's going to have sent you some lithops. Can you see them? So here we go. Do you want to unwrap it and have a look? And I'll get 3 pots. Be gentle, okay? And I'll get some pots here that we can use to pot these guys up. Be careful, mate. Don't rip it, just unfold it. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Good job. You got it? Careful. Careful. All right, here we go. What do we got? We got lithops. Dorothea. Can you say Dorothea?
Dorothea.
Dorothea, that's pretty cool, isn't it? What do you think? Is that cute? Do you want to show the camera? What does it look like? Does it look like a little bean? All right. Hold on. Should we pot it up? Don't just chuck it in. I'll put some soil in. So we get some from over here. Here we go. Remember, we pour a bit out on the thing, make a little hole, put him in there, and then, do you want to grab some soil and help Dada?
Yeah.
Put a bit more in there. We're going to make a bit of a mess on the table, but that's okay. Here you go, put some soil in. Got it? We need a little, we need a shovel or something, don't we? Like a little spade. Maybe we do this. Hold on.
What about we grab all the
Hold on. Let me just try this one. Watch. Whoop. There we go. Got to get him out though. He's hiding. He's trying to hide. Put a little bit more in. That was a good idea though. Oh, perfect. That's a cute one, isn't it? So we got to remember this is Dorothea. You see it? Where's he hiding? All right, what's the next one?
This one.
Yep, all right, you do it. I'll get some of this soil out of the way. Should just bring the box a bit closer. Oh, you got it. You're gonna unwrap it over here on the table. Here, try this. Just go like this. Yeah, you got it. You got it? Oh man, the anticipation. You got it? Where is it? Is it in there? Get him out. You got him? Gentle, don't tear the roots. Oh, cool. And this one is Lithops Embers. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Do you want to show the camera? Should Dada put it a bit closer? Do you want me to bring the camera over here? You show the camera? No, like this. Bring it to this side. There it is. Whoa, how cool is that? All right. Should we pot him up? So, do you want me to do it quickly?
And we can put it in the greenhouse.
Yeah, these are going to be your special plants that you can take care of in the greenhouse. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah.
Cool.
And we can also do a poo on them.
What? We could also do a poo on them. Why would we do that, mate? Oh, okay, that kind of mood today, huh?
That.
All right, no, stop playing with that one. Last one. There you go.
That.
You got it? You got the last one?
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Do you reckon it's another lithops?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You got it? Put it on the table, over the table. Yeah, that's it. Maybe. Data helps? Here. There you go. There you go. You got it. Here you go. Unwrap, unwrap, unwrap. Whoa, what colour is that one? What colour is that?
Pink.
Yeah, and maybe purple too? Lithops optica rubra. Is that cool or what? You want to show the camera again? In the camera in? Whoa, put it over this side. Look at that. That's pretty cool, isn't it? How cool is that? You going to say thanks, Corey?
Thanks, Corey.
Good boy, mate. All right, should Dada pot it up quickly? No, pass it to me. Do you reckon it's going to grow really well? You're going to take care of it?
Yeah.
Good boy.
In the greenhouse.
Yeah, we can find a little spot for it in the greenhouse. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Where are all the other ones?
All the other ones?
Where are they?
Inside the greenhouse.
No, they're right there.
What are right there? Oh, the ones you just got?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're here. Hold on, we're going to get this guy out. Okay. He's sunken in a bit. Bit of a tiddler. He'll grow quick under your care, I reckon. Can you see him? Wee-hee!
Why is
He's
he
hiding
under
right in
it?
there. He's just hiding. We can bring him up a little bit, maybe. Dad'll try and do it gently, without doing too much damage to the roots. All right, that better?
Yeah.
There you go. Now you can see him a bit better, huh? That's cool. All right, so there you go. What do you reckon?
Why did you put this?
Because we've got to put the labels on them. We've got to remember what they are. So Dada's going to have to write some labels.
I know.
You know?
This.
Ah, good idea, mate. Awesome job.
Maybe like this.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll use some sticky tape. We can do that. We'll try and do it afterwards. High five.
Let's
Good job.
put them in the
Dá
green.
joinha. Dá joinha para a câmera. Oof. Well, mate, that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope it hasn't been too much of a snore fest. I'm Pete. This is Pete vs. Plants. Check this video out next. Say bye to Peaches. See you, Peach. Say ciao. Say ciao. There you go. That's her waving bye. Yay. See you guys. And I'll see you next time.